This video here is essentially a wrap-up video of my experience from living the last few months in Lanzarote. Originally supposed to head for 8 weeks, take 8 weeks off my old job, and then come home and come back to my job. I then decided, do you know what, I'm just going to put all my eggs in one basket. I'm going to leave my job and take it as an opportunity to go take off with my online coach and see how things go and just try make a leap for myself. I can safely say it was 110% the most scariest and riskiest thing I've ever done, because it was the security of having a wage. I wasn't having that anymore. I had literally 5 clients heading over to Lanzarote. I wasn't even sure if I was going to have a wage to even survive. And I just said, I'm just going to go it anyway. If I have to come home in a week, if I have to come home in 2 weeks, it's still an experience. I still have a memory to look back on, and I'll be glad that I just took the risk. I made sure to look at worst case scenario and best case scenario. Best case scenario is everything takes off for me. It goes so well. I'm so glad I left my job. Worst case scenario is I have to come home and get a job and just work a little bit more on it. It doesn't mean I failed. It just means it just needed that little bit more work. And I was glad, I was happy with whatever way it was going to go, because I knew I wasn't going to be upset or annoyed or angry with the decision that I'd made. The whole purpose of me going there was to purely just gain as much independence as I possibly could, to realise that I can survive on my own, and just to learn as much about myself as I possibly can. I had sod all clients at the time. I had no wage coming in at all, and by right I should have held on to whatever money I had and just used it basically to survive, to pay rent, everything like that. But instead I just put my money to other use. Even though I didn't know I have a wage coming in, I didn't even know if I was going to be able to survive a week, I just used whatever money I had and just reinvested straight back into myself. Before I left, the day before I left, I got myself a mentor, I got myself an online coach, and I paid for therapy. I just used all my money and put it into those. I said, I'm just putting it into that, and everything else will work itself out. That is going to help me. It was extremely scary. Like, I just kept saying, oh, I'm coming home. If I have to come home, I've no car to come home to. I've everything gone. Do you know, I'm going to be starting from scratch. When I was heading to the airport, I was freaking out. I was like, I'm not going to be able to survive. I was going red raw, going through security, because I was doing it all on my own and just pushing myself into situations that I'd never ever been in before. Freaking out like, oh my God, I'm definitely going to run out of money. I'm definitely going to be home in a week. And just trying to kind of stop all those things coming into my head and remind myself that it could all work out as well, and that I can't fail, because it's something I'm going to learn from. It's going to stand to me so much. I'm going to realise, if I can survive this, if I can survive with having no wage and do all this on my own, I can literally get past anything. It was no one but me in the apartment on my own in Lanzarote. Had to do everything for myself. The amount of independence that I gained from realising how much I kind of depended on people, you know, to do things for me, just little things, and realising then I had to do it all by myself, it just put me in such a good position. I can safely say, hands down, my confidence grew, my mindset, my perspective on life just completely shifted. Taking that time to look after myself, put myself first, taking that time to just journal my thoughts, realising how I think. All those times I panicked over things where I would have used other people, like getting through the airport, I'd always have someone else with me. Putting myself through all these situations made me realise, I'm like, I can literally do anything on my own. And as well as that, it made me realise, you know, how happy I can actually be on my own. I learned so much to be just happy by myself. I learned the impact that everyone had around me when I was at home. So I was constantly like a people pleaser or doing things for other people. It just made me realise how much I'd done for everyone else and how much I didn't do for myself. That mindset shift of making decisions for myself, you know, deciding what kind of I want to do for the day, where I want my life to go. I got so caught in the trap of the security of having a safe job, of having my car, having everything. It was panic to try leave that, because you have such security there. And it just made me realise there's so much more to life and so much more to being happy, rather than I was constantly chasing weekends to be happy or chasing evenings, waiting for 5 o'clock. And I was wasting so much time. And when I was out there, even though I had absolutely nothing, you know, I had no wage, I was just so happy and content. And it just made me realise, you know, there is so much more to life than just chasing these sort of things. I learned definitely that it's okay to let go of things in order to grow. So I was so hell-bent on like keeping my car, because I'd put so much into it, you know, like paying for the alloys, getting the windows tinted. I'm like, oh, do you know, I really want to hold on to that. Or, you know, I'm so used to having my bedroom here. And then it was the same like when I went over to Lanzarote. I was like, oh, I'm so comfortable here now. And it's just trying to push myself to kind of leave these things behind and know that there's better things coming. And that's kind of the mindset I had myself in coming home is, yeah, that was an unbelievable experience, but you know, I'm ready to move on, I'm ready to try something else, I'm ready to push myself a little bit more and experience something new again and just push myself again. I have definitely come back more mentally stronger than I ever have been in my whole life, 110%. I realise now I literally do not have to prove myself to anyone but myself. Like having that old job, I felt like I had to prove it to someone. Having a really, really nice car, I felt like I needed to show off. I always felt like I need to have the newest phone, the newest trend, and now I'm like owning things just don't mean anything to me. I'm so happy with being able to kind of just let things go, and like memories are just a million times more important to me. Experiences mean so much more to me than trying to keep up with spending loads of money that puts you in debt and being caught down and stuck and feeling like you can't leave or go experience and do things that you want to actually do. I definitely rate my success now off happiness and taking these risks and, you know, not being afraid to fail and constantly just pushing myself as much as I can, because I realise now, you know, if anything does go wrong or things that I try, risky things I do try, if they don't go to plan, like I'm so okay with that. I'm so okay with picking up a job along the way and just going again. And I just have that feeling now that I literally just don't have to prove myself to anyone or see myself as a failure. Everything I do or every choice I make is literally for me. I'm so happy as well that I learned to stop playing it safe, because when I saw, say, my brother leaving his job, like I was panicking for him. I was like, oh my god, what's he going to do now? How is he going to afford things? And that's why I never left, because I was always so afraid of that. And I'm so glad now I don't have a fear anymore of playing it safe. I come home now to zero because I basically sold up shop, but I really don't care, because I just come back with absolutely unbelievable experiences, unbelievable miracles, I was going to say, unbelievable memories, and just a whole fresh perspective on life and what I value most, and I would not change it for the world. I had the best time ever to just grow as a person, and I think back now, like imagine if I let my car alone, if I let all those things stop me from going out of fear, I would have done the 8 weeks in Lanzarote and I would have been back now in my job. I would have been just sitting there, you know, thinking what if, and I'm so glad I didn't do that. I'm so happy doing things on my own. I absolutely love my own company now, which is something that I never done before. I always felt like I had to be like around someone else, or I couldn't go to like a restaurant on my own or a cafe on my own. That would just freak me out. And now these are all things that I absolutely love to do, and I'm so grateful that I am at that stage now. I realise now also that like I don't need drink, you know, to build some confidence, which is something I would have depended on. Just like drink so much of pre-drinks just so you kind of gain that confidence. And now I learned from that holiday to be able to just sit in a pub and not drink and not feel, you know, weird, or which is something I would have never ever done in my life, and that I can still have a good time and still be happy and not depend on that for confidence. If you get a chance at all to go and experience something like that, I would definitely say go. If you kind of fear that security now that you maybe have your job or car, whatever it may be, all of these things are things that can literally come back at any stage in life. There's not a perfect time where we have to have the perfect new car. Like, you know, we get so caught up in, you know, I can't do that now. Like, these things can all come back. Like, we literally don't own anything. These are all just objects. We can get rid of them. Being able to let them go, it's the best thing you'll ever do. Don't worry about what ifs. Don't worry about waiting for the perfect time. I had no money, and all my money literally just went back into myself anyways. I just literally spent them all on a mentor, coach, online coach. These are all things that were, and therapy, these are all things that were going to benefit me and my mind and my body, and it was so much more important than staying at a job and paying off a loan and just being miserable as fuck. And again, the safe option would have been there to try save that money for just surviving, but I know I wouldn't have been able to stay out there as long as I did if I didn't take that risk. If you spend too much time thinking about the what ifs, or what if I go and I come home and there's no job there, what if I come home and I don't have a car there, like if you get so hell-bent on those, you will never ever go. All of these things literally just work themselves out. Like, that is literally irrelevant, because you've got to experience something so amazing that the memories from that and the experience of that much more tops off staying in a job that you hate and just driving that fancy car that you hate to that job. Those memories and experiences will stand to you so much more in life, and there's something that you're going to look back on and be like, I'm so glad I took that risk and went and done that, rather than sitting around playing the safe game. You literally cannot fail. Everything always works itself out, and if you kind of set yourself up for best case scenario and worst case scenario like I did, I can promise you will never ever fail, and you will just be so thankful of it. You'll realise how much you can survive off how, you know, a little amount, and it's just a complete different experience that's going to stand to you so much. I hope this helps someone who was in the same situation as I was, because I spent so much time sitting around thinking what if, and fearing it and hoping everyone make the decision for me, and then saying, oh, I'll wait till COVID ends and all these things. But like, honestly, just go for it.